Hi guys, I'm coming to you from my bedroom today because my son is doing uni online and he's in the lounge room and he needs quiet. He doesn't need me yammering on in the background, and I'm sure you don't want to listen to his lecturer going on about artificial intelligence stuff in the background. I know in my last video I promised to do an update on my last clinic appointment, and I was quite upset then, and I'm a little bit more accepting of what's going on now, but still not 100% happy. And I didn't get around to it. I've been having a bit of a rough time lately, just with some stuff with my neighbour and my family and a few other things. And so I've been trying to concentrate more on happy things that bring me joy rather than negative things. So that's why I didn't make the video. I just didn't want to go down that. I didn't want to go into that negative place because I've got enough negative in my life at the moment. I'm trying to keep it happy. So I had another appointment with the clinic today, and so I thought I'll do an update because I did promise it, and it's not necessarily negative. It's just, not ideal. So I spoke to someone today. I'm sorry if my eyes are going everywhere. I've got a new phone. I've got a new setup, and I'm trying to concentrate. I'm looking, where will it be? Here, so that my eyes are in the right spot, but it's hard. It's hard. Anyway, so my appointment today, I was sleeved. I'll go back a bit further in case you're new here. I got a lap band in 2013. I was 140 kilos when I got lap banded. My highest weight prior to that was 170 kilos. The lap band worked for a while until it didn't, so I had it removed and then got sleeved in 2019, so 2 years ago now, a little bit over 2 years, 2 years and a few months ago. And I was never really happy about being sleeved, to be honest, because I've got reflux. Had reflux, still got reflux, had a hiatus hernia, got it fixed, the hiatus hernia has come back. So it's not an ideal situation. It can be managed as long as I take Pariat for the rest of my life, but I'm not happy about doing that because that can cause all sorts of problems as well. And I'm sorry that everything's reflecting off my glasses. I don't normally wear glasses, but I need to read my notes. So spoke to someone in the bariatric clinic again today. I've got a few more things like not really sorted out to my satisfaction, but as good as they're going to be for the foreseeable future. I had some more tests done. Would have been back in August now, just before my last appointment, to check a few things. I had a barium swallow done, and I had a couple of nuclear medicine tests done. They were the esophageal motility and gastric emptying tests. They didn't have all the results of those back the last appointment that I had, even though they were supposed to. So I had to wait a couple of weeks for another appointment, which always takes at least a month. So that's what the appointment today was. And on the phone, I like those phone appointments, and I don't have to drive all the way into the city and pay for petrol and parking and all of those things. So we spoke about the results of those tests. Oh, I know I also had a gastroscopy back in February this year. It's November now. So that they're all showing that I do have a bit of reflux, and that I do have a very small hiatus hernia again, and that I do have a small pouch in my sleeve. But, with all their guidelines, they think everything looks really great. My weight is sitting at around about 100, 101 now, and it's getting quite difficult for me to maintain that. Like I went down, I got as low as about, this time around with the sleeve, I got as low as about 92, 93 kilos, and I was maintaining that really well, and then it jumped up a few kilos. So then I was maintaining that for a while and maintaining that quite well, and it got it to 97, 99, and now it's, like 100, 101, and it's just so difficult for me to maintain it. I actually want to lose some weight. I would like to lose at least 5 or 10 kilos, but maintaining is difficult enough without, trying to lose more weight. And I've got a lot of stress in my life at the moment. So I'm just doing the best I can at the moment without... I know in myself from past experience, to lose the weight that I need to lose, I'm going to have to be really obsessive and really on it, and I don't have the mental space at the moment to be able to do that. So I'm not stressing, I'm just concentrating on maintaining. But they're really happy. They're really happy. I spoke to him about it today, and he asked, what I was when I got lap banded, what I was when I got sleeved, what my highest weight was. And when it comes right down to it, yes, I'm 101 kilos, but I'm not 170, I'm not 140, I'm not 127. I am considered a success story. They expect it, and I did really so seriously well initially. Like, I lost more than 85 kilos. I'm a success story. Even though I'm 101 kilos, I'm still like a really good success story. So we've got to put it in perspective, and that's pretty much what the guy said today. So that's what I'm holding that today. So I did talk to him again about the reflux. I don't get heartburn that much, but he did say there's two different kinds of reflux. There's acid reflux, where it comes up and it burns and you get the heartburn and everything. But the Pariat that I take reverses that, so I don't get that acid. But there's also a volume reflux, where food just backs up in your esophagus, and that's the sort they think that I have. I've also got the acid reflux, but that's kept in check by the Pariat. But I can't do anything about the volume reflux other than, not eating for a few hours before I go to bed, which I don't. Most of the time I don't. Every now and then I do like to have a little nibble of cheese at bedtime, but that never causes problems. And then other times I won't eat from like 8 o'clock at night or even earlier, and I go to bed at midnight and I'm still waking up choking on vomit. So we talked about that. Previously I was just having like regurgitation coming up and irritating my larynx, I imagine. And I would wake up choking on that, but it would only come up, like up to here. But lately, I've been having problems where I've actually got vomit coming like right up to the point where I can actually taste it in my mouth when I wake up, but I'm not choking on it. It's really weird. So that's kind of progressed. I told him that, didn't seem to make any difference. So all he has suggested is to not eat for 4 hours before going to bed, and he said to put a brick under the head of my bed. I'm really not keen to do that because, number one, I can't even lift my bed. My bed was made for me, and it's a solid bed. It broke about 7 or 8 years ago, but I got it fixed. So like in all of the ends of it, it's like a sort of like a 4-poster bed, and it hasn't got the posts. It's got bolts that are like that. Well, the wood on it is that long, and then the bolts are about that long on all 4 corners. So to even move my bed now, I would have to unbolt it all just to move it. I'm not keen on putting bricks under the head of my bed. It also would mean that the head of my bed would be raised up about that far, and I've done a lot of research on this. I've got 5 bulging discs in my back. That is not an ideal way to sleep. I would be constantly sliding to the bottom of the bed, and I'm a restless enough sleeper as it is without having to crawl back up to the top of my bed all night. It can also interfere with fluid drainage from the rest of your body. So, like I could end up with fluid retention in my ankles and my legs. Again, not ideal. I already have problems with fluid retention and take medication for that. I don't want to impact that problem any further. And then when I retain fluid, I get palpitations, and then I have panic attacks, and then I don't sleep. So it's not an option for me. And as I said to them, I don't think it's going to do anything because I already sleep on 4 pillows most nights, which is, it's not a good posture for me. It's really awful. I can't sleep flat at all. So I said that I would consider getting a wedge pillow, but I think they're quite expensive for something that might not even work, or that might just be really uncomfortable for me to sleep on. He suggested to just pop out and get a recliner, because like everyone on a disability pension can afford to just go out and buy a recliner. If I could afford a recliner, trust me, I would have one. I would already have a recliner in my lounge room. That's the dream, a recliner. Oh, just imagine. crocheting and cross-stitching in my recliner with my feet up, and I used to have one, but it broke. So anyway, that was his solutions. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to think about it, and if I can get a recliner, I might be able to get one on eBay or Marketplace or something. That would be really, really good. So yeah, we talked about the gastric emptying study, and I have a rapid transit. It's my stomach is pretty much empty at the end of half an hour. At the end of 22 minutes, it's half empty, and then, you know, like within about another 8 minutes, it's completely empty. Now, on a normal person who hasn't been sleeved, that is a really fast transit time. That would not be normal. But because I've been sleeved, it is normal. It is normal to have a rapid transit. And so I said to him, well, isn't that the very definition of the dumping syndrome? Because, you know, like after I eat, I very often, I'll get palpitations, I get very sleepy, I feel sick. Sometimes it just runs straight through me. I get crampy, I get bloated. Not everything I eat, but it happens enough that it's a problem. I would like to be able to go for a walk and talk and coffee with someone without having to like map out my route so that I know there is a toilet within, you know, running distance if I'm also having a coffee. And I only drink decaf, so it's not the caffeine, and it doesn't matter what milk. I've tried regular milk, light milk, almond milk, soy milk. I think I've even tried oat milk. It just because it goes through so fast. But he said, no, that's not dumping. And it also affects your blood sugar levels, which is why, you know, you get that, because the food's going through so fast, your blood sugar level jumps up and then it dips and goes really low. That's why you feel weak and shaky and sleepy and all this sort of thing. He said it's not dumping because dumping affects your blood sugars as well, which no one has tested for. So they're just saying, no, yeah, your blood sugar's fine, but we're not going to test it. But I might see if my GP, because there is a very strong history of diabetes in my family, I might see if she'll just do a blood sugar test, and then from there we'll see if I need a, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a sugar challenge test, the one where you go and you have the drink and they stick you 3 or 4 times over a period of a couple of hours. It's heaps of fun, and the last time I had it done, I got really quite sick. But anyway, so yeah, he insists that it's not dumping because the food, whilst it does transit through my stomach very fast, it only goes into the proximal intestine, not the distal intestine, which in easy terms means, you know, you've got your stomach and it goes through the pylorus, and then you've got your small intestine, and your small intestine is very, very long. So my food is only dumping into the first part of my small intestine. It's not dumping into the later on part of my small intestine, which is what causes the dumping, apparently. So I'm semi-happy with that, semi-not happy. And also, I don't understand, because they've done the test and seen that my stomach empties very, very rapidly, which doesn't explain why at times when I eat, I feel over full for hours and hours and hours afterwards. Like it gets to the point where I'm hungry again, but I can't eat because, you know, I feel like I've still got food like up in here. So he said that could just be the different foods I eat, because when I did the gastric emptying test, it was just on oats. So of course they're going to just go through really, really easy. And I have noticed that fullness I get is mostly with protein. But as I said to him, because I've been lap banded and sleeved, I'm not new to, you know, weight loss surgery. And one of the biggest rules when you have weight loss surgery and you want to lose weight is protein with every single meal. So that's just become a habit to me. I could probably count on one hand how many times I've actually sat down and eaten just fruit or veggies without protein added in, with the exception of when I've had to do Optifast or keto as surgery prep. I always, like, if I have apple, I'll have peanut butter on it, or I'll have it with cheese, or if I have a salad, there's always some form of protein in there, you know, cheese or tuna or chicken or something. So, you know, but I think certain proteins are worse than others for me. Like I have a lot of trouble with chicken and scrambled eggs, which you would think would go through really easy, but they don't. So yeah, that's a little bit of a mystery for me, but you know, sleep life now, I guess. So what else did we talk about? Yeah, the Pariet, I don't know if I mentioned in my other video, I'll just go over it quickly again. I've already been on Pariet for over 20 years, and it can cause stomach cancer, but it tends to be only from the rebound acid when you stop taking the Pariet, which I have done a few times, but it's not like a consistent thing. I think it might be for more people who are inconsistent with taking their Pariet, maybe. I don't know. But it can cause a lot of other problems. And it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, like all of these things are going to happen to me. It doesn't mean if you're on Pariet that all of these things are going to happen to you, but they are still of concern for me. Not so much now because, you know, I'm only 53, which is still relatively young, and I can't say healthy because I do have some chronic health issues, but as far as, you know, like diabetes and all that sort of things go, I'm in good nick. But I'm a long-term. I like to think long-term. I need to think long-term. I'm fine now, but will I be, if I've still got all of these problems going on, when I'm 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, because I do intend to live till at least 100. If I'm waking up now, choking on vomit in my sleep, right? That's okay, because, well, I mean, that's not okay, but I'm able to wake up and cough and, you know, get back to sleep. What if I'm 90 and that's happening? Am I going to be able to rouse myself from sleep then and deal with it as well? Maybe not. My hernia now at the moment, because it's only 1 or 2 centimetres, is considered small. And as he said today, not really a hernia. Okay. What if that gets bigger? What if it's fine now, it stays that size, but it gets bigger, and by the time it gets big, and it could have been fixed now, but it doesn't get bigger till I'm 60 or 70 and they can't do surgery anymore because I'm too old. This shit needs to be fixed now. But anyway, so the things that can happen with Pariet long term, and they've done no studies longer than I think about 10 years, it can cause things like subacute cutaneous lupus erythematosus, which is like lupus on your skin, from what I can, from memory. Dementia. I'm terrified of getting dementia. Both my grandparents had it. But I think that's probably due to, from other things I've read, B12 deficiency, which I'm not deficient in B12. But it can cause the B12 deficiency, which I think my theory is that it then leads to the dementia. It can cause decreased, up to 41% decreased calcium absorption, which of course can lead to osteoporosis and fractures. And I've, you know, when you look at how much weight I've lost, you know, like 85 kilos, or, you know, it was just over 90, but I call it 85 kilos. When you lose that sort of weight, if I had been bypassed and I'd lost that weight, I would qualify for a DEXA scan, which like scans basically the health of your bones to see if you've got osteoporosis or if you're losing like bone density. But because I lost 85 kilos via other means, I don't qualify for a DEXA scan. And I could get one. They're about $80 to $100, but everything adds up, and I can't afford it. So I spoke to him about that, and he actually said that they tested my calcium 2 years ago, and it was in good nick then. So I'm happy about that. And I'll talk to my GP, like when I get my regular blood tests that I get, and I'll just get her to add calcium onto it regularly so we can keep an eye on that. I'll have to be happy with that. I can also get pneumonia from inhaled bacteria. That's just a standard no-brainer. If I'm waking up choking on vomit, it means that it's irritated my breathing pipe instead of my food pipe, and I have actually inhaled crap into my lungs from that a couple of times and been lucky enough to not actually get sick. There was a fly there. It can cause C. difficile colitis because of the higher gastric pH. With more virulent bacteria, it can cause drug interactions. It can cause low magnesium. It's too hard to say that other word. Low magnesium. I already take a high strength magnesium because of my fibromyalgia, and I do get my magnesium checked. Shortly after I had the sleeve, my magnesium was very low and I had to have an infusion, but it's fine now. Even though I take high dose magnesium, my magnesium is never too high, and I do keep an eye on that. It can cause hypokalemia, which is low potassium, and again, I did have problems with that shortly after my sleeve, and I have had problems with it a couple of times since then, so we also keep an eye on that. And that I can treat those easily. I can just take magnesium or I can take potassium, but I don't want to have to. It can cause B12 deficiency. It can cause acute interstitial nephritis. I'm not sure of the mechanism there. I could do some research, but whatever. And it also reduces oral iron absorption. So taking iron supplements if you're anemic is useless, absolutely useless. Now, thankfully, since I had my uterus removed, which was slowly, well, actually not so slowly, was killing me through blood loss, my iron levels, I had an iron infusion, my iron levels came up and they're still going up. So I don't need to worry about that now, and hopefully I never have to worry about that again. What else did we talk about? Oh, that's something I asked him. When I had those nuclear medicine tests done, I had the two tests done. I had the gastric emptying and the esophageal motility, right? Now, keeping in mind, the problems I'm having in my sleep. I fall asleep and I wake up choking, right? Because of the reflux. Now, when I did those tests, I wasn't allowed to fall asleep. I had to lay on my back for, I think it was 2 hours and not sleep, because they said to me, when you sleep, everything relaxes and it changes the values of the test. Now, my way of thinking, if they're testing me for stuff that's backing up out of my stomach into my throat and making me choke only when I'm asleep, they should have said to me, you have to fall asleep during this test. We need to see why you're choking. We need to reproduce that environment. And I did actually ask him about that today, and he said, yeah, it's a bit silly, but, you know, there must be a reason for it. Anyway. What else did we talk to? Oh, I just told him that I was a little bit upset because before I got sleeved, and keeping in mind I never wanted to be sleeved, I wanted to be bypassed because I anticipated these problems. I was not told. Apparently, after being sleeved, it's normal to have acid reflux. And it's normal to have a small hernia. I did say to him that I thought having reflux was a contraindication to being sleeved, and he said, no, it's not. I don't know, maybe all the thousands of people that I've interacted with in weight loss surgery groups don't know anything either, and everything they've been told by their surgeons is wrong. So yeah, he said it's normal now for me to have reflux and normal for me to have a small hiatus hernia. And he said that the results of the studies all came back quite good, actually. And I'm thinking, well, do some other fucking testing, mate, because I'm still waking up choking. Oh, I also asked about, there's a thing called Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, which is where your body produces too much acid because of a tumour in your pancreas. And it can be teeny tiny little tumours that aren't even malignant. They're just little problem makers, and they can make your body make too much acid. And my nana, before she died, for a few years before she died, had a pancreatic tumour that obviously wasn't malignant, or it would have knocked her off much, much sooner. But she had a pancreatic tumour that was so big, and your pancreas sits like under here, under your ribs, right? hers was so big that you could see it making her stomach bulge out under her ribs. It was enormous. So I asked him why I had never been tested for Zollinger Ellison, if it was like something that should have been done. And he said no, because why did he say no? I can't remember why he said no, but no. And I was happy with what he said. Oh, he did say that I will need to have checkups with the clinic every 6 months. That works for me, because I don't feel like they're just going, well, you know, run along, you'll be okay for the rest of your life. They do want to keep an eye on me in case something changes. And he said it is still possible that things will settle and move around, and I'll get, you know, new scar tissue and all this sort of thing, and that things will change and that this will get better. I don't think it will, because this has been going on for over 20 years. I think if it was going to change, it would already have changed. And he said as well, because I am on the Bariatric and I have problems with the reflux, and just because of everything that's going on, that I will need to have a gastroscopy every 2 years. So the last one I had was February this year. So February 2023, I'll have another one, and then every 2 years after that, probably until I get too old for them to be able to safely sedate me for a gastroscopy. So he said when I have my next appointment in 6 months in the clinic, which, because it's the clinic, that'll probably be more like about 9 months. They always extend it and make it longer. But he said when I have that next appointment, he will book me in for the gastroscopy, because they can take a good 12 months or so to actually, for your name to actually come up on the list. So I'm happy that he's being a bit more proactive with that. And I think that was about it. I'm not, as I said, I'm not 100% happy, because, you know, I'm just being left to deal with this choking in my sleep forever. And it's been happening for over 20 years, and it's still terrifying. But, you know, what can I do? Just hope it doesn't get worse, I guess. So, and I just noticed, I'll show you. I've put this skirt on because I'm having coffee with a friend today, and she saw this skirt in the photo, and she said, I want you to wear that photo when we go out one day. So I've put it on for her today. And I've just realised that my skirt matches my bed. That's my skirt. And I match just about perfectly with my bed. If I laid down on my bed, no one would see me, because I'd be like camouflaged. So anyway, that's it. That's my update. I'll make another video about the vaccinations another time, because I really need to be in a good frame of mind to do that, so that it doesn't just turn into this wild woman ranting about anti-vaxxers. So that's it for now.